reflected recently on what really took me from 6 figures to 7 figures and beyond. And if there is only tiny part of you, or perhaps big part of you, that knows I'm meant to make much bigger impact in the world and in my life, I'm meant to receive much bigger level of abundance. I'm meant to take my business, my gift, my empire to 7 figures, 8 figures and beyond. This video is for you, because what I'm going to talk to you today about is 5 core things that are essential in terms of your identity, energetics and strategy that will help you to scale your business to 7 figures and beyond. So let's do that, shall we? Hello, my powerful one. How this video came about? Well, very recently I recorded a video for you with 5 core changes that took me from survival mode to abundance. So these 5 codes were happening at the beginning of my second business after I lost the first one, and it was received by you really well. So this little video is, if you like, a continuation of 5 changes I shared with you with the previous video, which we'll share somewhere down below. And as I'm going to share these 5 codes or principles with you, I invite you to check with yourself, how can I embody this code a little more today? How can I become in a little more today and this week? Because whereas many would like you to believe that, oh, if you're not at 7 figures yet, all you need to do is just 1, 2, 3, done. Tomorrow you're a millionaire. It's not quite so simple. If it was, everyone probably would be a millionaire. It's not about what you do, and it's not about what you do one day, 1 week, 1 month. It's about who you are, your identity, and how you decide, strategize, lead from that identity. So these are the 5 almost leadership codes that I had to learn to embody day by day, make choices from this place day by day to be able to scale my business sustainably, easily, effortlessly, and sustainably with far less effort than it's typically thought it would take, because I don't believe in scaling your business and losing yourself in a process. No. We're talking about scaling your business, income, impact, revenues, and your sense of aliveness, sense of fulfillment, sense of freedom, sense of who you are with it. So without further ado, let's dive into this code. So number 1 business energetic principle I had to embody is, of course, this. I collapsed future into now. What I mean by that is that I've always had a big vision of empowering very many women entrepreneurs. And I had in my mind and heart this, if you like, vision and a picture of how I empower from the stage, how I organize these luxurious, incredible, empowering events for women entrepreneurs where we do business differently. But this vision felt like years ago, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years ago, even when my business finally started to work after I lost that first one. In fact, somebody asked me at one of the events where we run this exercise, when are you choosing your vision to come true? Something along those lines. And somebody asked me, where do you believe this will come true when you will run these incredible events? And I did say, I don't know, but somewhere 5 to 10 years from now. And that thinking had to change for me to be able to take my business from 6 to 7 figures. Because if we project our scaled self, our vision into long-term future, it will always remain there. You see, and that's a very, very natural human thing to do, because if it's in the future, we don't really need to do anything about it. We don't need to change anything, and that's what the human brain likes. So one time, and it happened shortly after my 3rd son was born, I was painting old piece of furniture and I was contemplating on this vision, on these beautiful events, on this millionaire self, and an idea came to my mind. And it occurred to me in one moment, well, what am I waiting for? Why do I keep thinking that it will happen years from now? Why not now? Why not today? What am I waiting for? And I kid you not, when that realization came over me, I dropped that paintbrush and I ran to my husband and said, Thomas, how will you feel when I become a millionaire? And he laughed, of course, and he said, darling, do whatever you like, do whatever makes you happy. But that was actually a moment when I collapsed the future into now, meaning I stopped projecting that which I desire into future, especially the long-term future, and I decided this is who I am, and I am that woman now. So I dare to say that my 7-figure business was born in this moment when I dropped that paintbrush and I claimed that identity. This is who I am. Now, of course, what happened from there is the principle or code number 2, and that is I started to make far bigger leaps and far more courageous choices, because I now started to function and think from that identity of the millionaire self, the CEO of a 7-figure business. So the very first thing that came to me was, do not wait until you're more ready to organize these luxurious, empowering events. Do it now. And I did. I went out there, I found a beautiful hotel that matched the vision, and I signed the contract to run my first ever empowering event for women entrepreneurs with business energetics flavor. And it was scary AF, but because the new identity was leading me and I trusted that vision, I trusted that self, I took that leap. And I told myself, I'll never be the woman who is not able to facilitate this type of thing. I cannot unbecome. So just the fact that I'm making the choice, that matters. And guess what happened? Within, roughly speaking, 2 to 3 months, we experienced in my business the first 100K month, which at the time it was absolutely huge. And yes, I did run that event, roughly speaking, six months from then. So not 5 to 10 years into the future, nothing like it. Now, disclaimer, it took me a while, in fact, several years until I stabilized the 100K a month frequency. So it wasn't like my business went into 7 figures right away. However, that was a big manifestation out of me making these much bigger leaps and choices from that identity of a millionaire. And that's, of course, essential. So my question to you, my dear, is this one. Where are you invited this week to take bigger leaps or more courageous choices from the identity of your higher self, more claimed self, scaled self, if you like, rather than your current self? Contemplate on it for a moment or two, and if anything comes through you, well, that's your key to become more of you and manifest more of what you desire. Now, before we go into the third key that helped me to become a millionaire, I want to share with you that I'm going to actually run a very unique and uniquely powerful 3-day immersive online event called the Scale Up Code, where we will go into so much depth of what it takes in you to really take your business to the 7 figures and beyond without brute force, overworking, or losing yourself. As always, this 3-part immersion will be a wonderful convergence of energetics teachings, raising your awareness and working with your energy directly and with your identity directly, so you can actually become who you need to become to scale your business where it needs to be. If that's of interest to you, I invite you to check the link below, and I'm so looking forward to be working with you in this way. Let's move into the code number 3. And what helped me to become a spiritual millionaire before it even happened. And that is this. I had to learn how to unhook the time from the value of my work. And what I mean by that is I started, as many of us, as a coach working one-on-one with many clients, and of course I facilitated group work as well. But at one point I was so busy. I had over 20 one-on-one clients and I was fully booked coach, which is great. Everyone wants it. However, it comes at a cost. I was so busy that I had very little time to attend to myself and to my family, and I was constantly working with my clients, and I had very little time to even think what to do or not to do to scale my business further. But at the time, then I decided I'll hire a coach to help me focus myself. And this is one big takeaway from that coach. She told me, Lenka, if you want to create more time, because I wanted that, while scaling your income and impact, which I wanted, you've got to take your time. And I thought, what do you mean you've got to take your time? Take time, claim it. Time is there for taking and claiming, otherwise it will claim you. In other words, she encouraged me to make choices where I gave a signal to the universe within me that I have plenty of time for everything and I'm taking my time. So what I did was, number one, I took an extra half day off Friday afternoons, even though it was against everything my human mind was telling me. I'm too busy, I can't afford extra time off. But that choice was essential for me to break the pattern of what I now call prostitute pattern, energetic archetype within us, where we are sourcing our value externally. And so it's that archetype within me that was hustling and giving too much time to my clients to prove my worth. So I took that extra time off, half day off, essentially proclaiming to the universe within me, no more, I claim my time, I have plenty of time, that's what I stand for. What happened from there was quite magical because it seemed like the clients and circumstances arranged themselves around my new choice. And whereas what would normally take me solid 5 working days now took me 4.5 working days. But you know what? More than that, I had more time to contemplate, I had more time to strategize, I had more time to think and be so that I could actually leverage my time. So in quite short period of time, I introduced a mastermind instead of my one-on-one coaching. And one thing that it took for me to actually do that is go through change of mindsets and my perceptions, how I perceive the value that I'm providing to clients. So I had to unhook that it's about how much time they spend with me, because I naively thought that clients pay me good money for my one-on-one work because I give them all that one-on-one attention and time. And that's what actually made me so tired. That's what actually pushed me into that proving mentality. So I had to unhook myself from that thinking and realize that it's not about amount of time I'm giving to my clients that makes my work worth it. It's nothing to do with the amount of time. It's about the transformations I facilitate. It's about the growth I facilitate. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether I spend with my clients 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days, as long as they can create the transformations and the growth that they desire. Well, quicker is better, no? So this is what really truly helped me to what we know is leverage time congruently, in alignment, so that as the time went, I was working with my clients more and more in a group setting rather than one-on-one setting, while still being able to hold powerful energy for my clients' growth. So this is why at the moment I can facilitate powerful changes and growth for my clients, for hundreds of them at a time rather than one person or a few people at a time. It's because, or one of the reasons is because I unhooked the time from the value of the work, and it allowed me to strengthen what I do, but on a much larger scale. This is one of the essential keys that every spiritual entrepreneur you need to master and embody in order for you to scale limitlessly. So again, a little question for you. Where are you invited today and this week to unhook time from the value you believe you provide? Think about that. The 4th business energetics code that helped me to become a millionaire before it even happened and scale my business to that level was deepening trust towards other people. This again is so essential. Otherwise, we end up in that prostitute pattern. micromanaging, trying to do things myself because I can do it better, and so forth and so forth. So as my business was growing, as my impact was growing, and as that next level identity was emerging within me, I've been continually invited to trust other people more, because here's the principle that sometimes our human mind needs to hear. When we're able to extend trust to other people, that's an ultimate demonstration of trust in self. Because other people are not separate from us. They're the reflection of our energy. Ultimately, we are attracting those people into our teams, our clients, our co-workers, shareholders, and so forth and so forth. We attract them through our choices, through our decisions. So it's about trusting our decisions, trusting who we are, and extending then trust outwards. And I tell you what, this principle, yes, it challenged me, but also it made me grow big time. And of course, because I continually practice the trust in other people, in my team members, and so forth, business is growing and flourishing because I don't have to carry all of that on my shoulders. I have got a team of incredible minds and hearts involved in this vision. So again, question for you, my dear one, is today and this week, where am I invited to extend more trust towards other people, which is the same thing as more trust in me? And finally, business energetics code number 5 that helped me to become a millionaire before it even happened is that I learned to demonstrate my worth more. What I mean by that is when you are in that identity of next level self, that next level self thinks and functions slightly differently to what your current self does. And as I reflected on my journey from 6 to 7 figures, I know one of those differences was the level of luxury I allowed myself, support I allowed myself, ease I allowed myself, self-care I allowed myself, time I allowed myself. Notice the word allowed. Allowed. So on that journey from 6 to 7 figures, I really practiced that energy of I allow myself to XYZ because I'm worth it. Not to prove my worth, not to chase my worth as in, oh, I'm going to allow myself to do this and hope and pray I'm going to be worth it later or something will come out of it. No, to simply demonstrate my worth because I'm worthy. So to give you a few examples that come to my mind that are a little crazy, but I did it from this energy of demonstrating my worth and allowing myself is, number one, at one point I was organizing a little weekend getaway with few girlfriends in London, and I found this incredible apartment that was just stunning, and it wasn't even available for rent, but I went to the length of finding the owners, calling the owners and negotiating with them a 5-figure fee so that I could stay with my girlfriends in that apartment for 3 nights. That was absolutely crazy investment for something personal, for just staying in a beautiful apartment in London for a few days. But you know what? Desire was there. It was authentic. And I knew that, you know what, I'm worth it. I cannot justify this as business expense, but I am worth it. And that's why I'm choosing it, even though it's out of my comfort zone. Then on another occasions, I use the frequency of luxury to actually lean into I'm worth it. Previous to that, I couldn't justify buying for myself a purse that would be a lot of money, even though I had that money. I'm not into going into debt or buying a certain bag or brand no matter what, because then I will be worth it. I'm not into that at all. However, I had genuine, mind you, suppressed desire to own a few beautiful luxury handbags or brands I was attracted to. But I just didn't allow myself to do that. So on this way from 6 to 7 figures, I went out of my comfort zone and I told myself, no, I'm going to get this bag or this blouse or this piece of jewelry or whatever it was just because I'm worthy. There is no other explanation needed, just because I am. And I know that it's this energy, this allowing and demonstrating my worth, not chasing it, that truly forced, if you like, the universe within to reorganize itself around my new level of self-worth. And that is, again, absolutely crucial when it comes to scaling your business and impact without losing yourself. So finally, my question for you is, where are you invited to demonstrate your worth more today and this week? If anything comes through you, I'll encourage you to take that choice. So for now, I will love to hear from you. What is that one choice you will be making today or this week that is connected to these 5 keys? Let me know in the comments below. And for now, I'll say I deeply love you and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.